a fire alarm sounds, you should leave by the nearest fire exit, which may be behind you, and meet at the top of Mill Hill car park. Please use either the central stairwell and the main exit for the building or the Mill Hill car park exit, and refrain from using the lifts. Welcome to this extraordinary meeting of the Council. I am Councillor Anderson, Chairman of the Council, and I will be chairing this evening's meeting. I would like to remind everybody present to use the microphones when speaking and not to speak too close to the microphone to maintain the sound quality of the recording of the broadcast. Only 2 microphones in addition to mine can be used at the same time. Please also make sure that all electronic devices are switched off or switched to silent and the notifications are muted. Before we start tonight, I would like to apologise to any members or members of the public for attempting to access the agenda over the weekend, where we had some IT issues. We are discussing these with our system supplier and will update members regarding the situation shortly. I'd also like to make you aware that under 4.1.18 of the Council's procedure rules, I've agreed to add a motion to tonight's agenda in relation to the local government reorganisation proposals for Leicestershire, which we shall consider as the final item of business tonight. Unfortunately, we are having some issues with the sound for those who are listening online. We apologise for any issue this causes and will try to resolve this when we upload the recording to YouTube tomorrow. Finally, just to remind you, members, when speaking, you have 5 minutes, and we will remind you with 30 seconds to go. Item 1, apologies for absence. I have received apologies from Councillor Beadle, Councillor Finan, Councillor Knight, Councillor Woodywis and Councillor Grafton Reid. Are there any further apologies for absence? I'd like to remind all members to make sure you have signed the attendance sheet before the meeting starts. As usual, if you leave the meeting during the debate, you may not be able to take part in the vote. If you are leaving before the meeting ends, you will also need to record your time of departure on the attendance sheet, please. I would like to remind all councillors of the standards of conduct expected when these council meetings take place, and remind you all that the group leaders have signed the debate not hate charter, which is displayed in the chamber area this evening. We are all here to conduct the council's business, and we should do so in accordance with our code of conduct. Councillors should stand when speaking and speak at one at a time through me. Item 2, declarations of members of interest. Does anybody have an interest to declare? Item 3. The next item for consideration is recommendations of the Corporate and Performance Overview and Scrutiny Panel on Cabinet's proposed budget amendments. Following the panel's meeting on the 23rd of July, recommendations were made to the Cabinet on the detailed grant schemes which Cabinet considered earlier tonight. In terms of the budget amendments, I understand the Scrutiny Panel recommended these in full, and so there are no formal amendments to propose. As a result, I will now invite Councillor King to present the budget amendments.
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks for that. So, members will need to refer to papers either from scrutiny or, sorry, from Cabinet earlier or from the last council meeting on 6th of July. Essentially, I'm not going to go through in tons of detail because there was a very robust scrutiny meeting last Thursday for nearly 3 hours. And I thank those colleagues and Councillor Bateman for chairing that meeting. It did go into what we call very heavy detail, and I think that was really important. In terms of what Council this evening has been asked to approve, you have been asked to approve, first of all, revenue resources or the open space strategy for agreeing an open spaces compliance officer, revenue resource of 10k per annum to equip the driver of the new mechanical road sweep van. Revenue resource totaling 79k in 3 years to finance the monthly member of Harbour District Council Services Limited. An additional 250k to go to the Local Economic Development and Regeneration Initiative, which is for a project at Whitworth. A land transfer project, revenue resource totaling up to 310,000 to finance an extension to the surveyor/valuable fixed term contract 50k, and to the council and town parish council legal costs of 260k. Revenue resource totaling 500k to provide a new rural grant scheme, as detailed in the previous papers. And finally, a capital resource of £1 million to deliver a new heritage grant scheme, and revenue resource of 50k to support the delivery of the scheme. And as Chairman, as you mentioned earlier, Scrutiny didn't make any recommendations to change any of that. There was one or two little details which were considered by Cabinet earlier, which were Cabinet decisions were considered. So that's basically where we are. We need these projects, we need this revenue to be agreed to so we can get these projects moving. We have, as we all know now, got time. We have now got a limited shelf life until the end of March 2028. It's really important that we now get these projects to start delivering, and that we enable our communities and groups that are running some of these assets so they can actually start to bid for buckets in, and actually we can start getting money out the door. If we continue to delay and frustrate this process, then what that means is that we're not going to be able to deliver, get the revenue to residents' expectations, and we're going to disappoint them, and that means that money's just going to be sat left in our bank accounts, and ultimately, when the new authority comes into existence on 1st of April 2028, that money will just simply get transferred over to the new Leicestershire and Rutland authority. Possibly some of it might go to the new Leicester Council area as well, and that means that will then be reprioritised by the new council for the area. So that's where we are. We don't want that to happen, and we urge all colleagues to support these well thought out measures so we can get on and get these things happening.
Thank you very much, Councillor King, and I'm sure the whole council appreciate the way that you and Councillor Knight were able to come to agreements that we could reach where we are today, so thank you very much. Councillor Wellband, would you like to second?
Yeah, I'll second that reserve my
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to comment or ask a question on this report? Okay, so Councillor Bannister.
Thank you. I think I'd better speak because I've recently been appointed the Heritage Champion at Harbour District Council. I follow Councillors Richmond, Bateman and Widdowes in that role. And it's a role that I take with a degree of seriousness and interest. So it's only right, I think, when I see the proposal for £1 billion grant to help protect and preserve our heritage assets in this district. I have a responsibility of speaking to that matter, and I wholeheartedly endorse the proposal in respect of that. We have some real jewels of heritage assets in this district, some of which sadly are now at a heritage at-risk list, and this £1 billion grant drawn down from capital will help protect, preserve and repair, together with other stakeholders, those jewels in our district. I fully support all of the proposals relating to the budget amendments, but in particular, as Heritage Champion, I support this particular proposal. So thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bannister. Would anybody else like to comment on this report? Councillor King, you therefore get a right to reply. Apologies, Councillor Scott.
I'm reading what's on the screen here now, and point 1B says local economic regeneration initiative, LEDR.
Oh, so, sorry, that's incorrect.
Mistake.
Yeah, it's just Kibworths, not our Great Glen, it's just the Kibworths. Just there. Yeah. There you go.
Thanks very much for that correction.
you very much, Councillor Scott. Would anybody else like to make any comments? Councillor Austin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this is the first time I've seen this, so if you could just have a few minutes just to have a look through it, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Austin, I've just been reminded that what you're looking at the screen is the same as what went to Council on the 6th of July, so there's actually been no amendments made.
Apologies, I thought this was the revised version from Cabinet, taking a look at it through scrutiny.
Yes, had scrutiny proposed to make actual changes or rejected any of it, of course it would be, but it's actually scrutiny allowed it to go across.
It's identical to our previous.
That is correct.
Thank you.
No problem.
Chairman, if I may, there was an amendment because in the meantime there was funding given towards the street sweep, the reasons for which have all been explained and the decision published for that, so that is the one change, and that was removed before the scrutiny.
Would anybody else like to comment on this report? Councillor Asher?
Yeah, just to say, I guess we did go through it trying to scrutiny. It was good to have some meat on the bones from what came before us at the last council meeting. There was an accusation that we should have just got on with it and we were playing political games, but I think the right thing to do was to take it to scrutiny, and I'm glad that it did come to scrutiny. There were the points raised by the members from both sides over the £250,000 worth, but no amendments did get voted through. So, yeah, that's just to make it a bit clearer for people that haven't been able to watch the scrutiny back or to read the pages from the scrutiny. So hopefully that helps somewhat. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Asher. Any other comments? So therefore, Councillor King would like to exercise your right of reply.
I didn't have anything else, Madam Chair, so I'm quite happy to move to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King. Okay, so Council, you're making decisions on this report. The recommendations have been proposed and seconded. So those in favour, please raise your arm.
I think we're unanimous.
That is unanimous, therefore that is carried. Item 4, so the next item of consideration is item 4, to consider the recommendations of the Standards Subcommittee on the 30th of June 2026. I want to reiterate my reasoning as to why I accepted this as an urgent item on the 6th of July and why we're now considering this as an item this evening. Although I realise it was not ideal to be considering the item so quickly following the Standards Subcommittee, there was risk that speculation could emerge on the position before a decision was reached, which would not have been fair to the council involved or helpful to the council. I was also conscious of the fact that the councillor involved is the chair of the committee that is due to meet on the 30th of July. The Standards Subcommittee recommended that this be considered at the next meeting of the council. Had we not considered this on the 6th of July, we would have been required to either consider this at our meeting at the end of September or convene an extraordinary meeting for this one item. I had consulted with the chair of the Standards Subcommittee on this, and he was very supportive at that time, which leads me on to inviting Councillor Dr. Bremner as chair of Audit and Standards Committee to present this report.
Well, at least I'm on my feet this time. Yeah, good supported. For all members to consider the paperwork which you now have the detail of, is a solemn decision. And it is a recommendation from the Subcommittee of Audit and Standards that Councillor Gray be removed all committees appointments until the annual meeting on May 2007. You have before you an appendix which is exempt, or you received that on email. If you wish to refer to that, please indicate that before you speak. if you want to refer to the appendix and want to move into exec session. I don't really wish to say anything else other than it's the same recommendation as the last time we met. Now you have the detail of the history of the decision, the independent person's opinion, supporting it or giving evidence to the decision the committee made. And it's for your decision now to either vote for this recommendation, which I propose, and seconder, abstain, or vote against. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dr. Bremner. Do I have a seconder for this?
Yes, I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Does anybody wish to comment or ask a question on this report? May I remind members that if they wish to discuss the exempt appendix of the report, we would need to move into exempt session, or determined we are satisfied that this can be considered in the public domain. I would also like to remind councillors to ensure that they are focused on the specific report and recommendations in front of them. I will therefore open up the floor. Councillor Piper.
Thank you very much, Chair. The two things I would say is, being a new boy on here, I don't know the history. The second thing is, the committee has presumably taken great pains to deliver a fair report, and therefore I think it would be in order for the council to agree with the committee's recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Piper. Would anybody else like to comment on this report? Councillor Bremner, would you like to exercise your right to reply?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing to add.
Okay, Council, once again, you're making decisions on this report and the recommendations have been proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please raise your arm. And all those against, please raise your arm. And any abstentions? Therefore, that is carried. Thank you, councillors. So this will be the any urgent business that I mentioned at the start of the evening. I've agreed to add this item to tonight's agenda as this is a critical issue for our district. The proposed motion has been circulated to members on Thursday and copies have been made available. Councillor Wellband, could I ask you please to present the motion?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for accepting this item as an urgent item. I think it is important that we discuss this, and hopefully we can get agreement tonight or get behind this motion, because we are very, very upset, disappointed, annoyed, angry that communities in our district are being proposed to go into Leicester City. That is against many, many residents, what they want. We've had petitions, we've had the consultation from government, various things have all said emphatically that those communities in our areas of Harborough do not want to be part of Leicester City. And in fact, the official government consultation, which was released last week, and of the 47,000 responses, 87% opposed the city's proposal, which effectively became the proposal that was put forward by government, and only 7% supported. So we are extremely disappointed, and I hope that colleagues can all support this. As I say, it's there on a piece of paper. I'm not proposing to read it out, but hoping to get support. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Knowles, I was believed, was going to second this.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with this. I think the bottom line is if Westminster had taken a chance at looking for the worst possible option, they've delivered it. This is appalling. Every single resident in our district. It's something that we in Harborough District have to push back against. And I fully support looking at any legal options we need to take. But it's not just us, it's across the whole of Leicestershire. This is an absolute mess. The government have delivered something here which is unforgivable. It's not just going to impact today, it's going to impact tomorrow and for the next 50 years. And long after we've all gone, although some of the younger members here, like myself, might still be around in 50 years' time, I doubt it. But the bottom line is, the fallout of this is horrific. I really, really do feel that we as a council have to speak out loud, speak out clear, not with a political voice or with a community voice on this. This is completely wrong for our community. The Councillor Wellbank and I spoke on the phone, I told him I full support on this. We have to stand up, we have to be counted, and we have to stand up for our residents, and I'm absolutely delighted to second it. I really am, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Knowles. The news this week was obviously of a huge disappointment across the Chamber, and appreciate this being brought forward. So I'm going to go straight to Councillor Kidd.
Thank you, Chairman. And Councillor Knowles says this thing about politics, so I'm afraid it is, unfortunately. And what's very clear is that the Labour government is playing politics with the Labour Party governance in the city. And unfortunately, we are the equivalent of the sacrificial lambs outside in Leicestershire and now Rutland. And the swathes of the Leicestershire and Wigston, Lady, Charnwood and ourselves that are being taken into this new Leicester Council area, Cockwood City Council, and Leicester Council. They are the growth zones. They are where principal amount of growth is going to come for the next 25, 30, 35 years. Whether that's housing, whether that's business growth, and those areas that are growth are the areas where, one way or the other, councillors elected at Harborough, district councils have taken the metaphorical plan forward support, and it's now the new Leicester Council that will reap absolutely the benefits of it. Now, as I said earlier, it is political. The leader of one of the other district councils, when I challenged them about it, one of the government party members, said it was just a minor boundary alteration. Well, it's not a minor boundary alteration, it is a massive expansion of Leicester Council area. It's a 225,000 population addition to the 395,000 people already live in Leicester City. And it will also mean that services remaining out of donut of Leicestershire Rutland Council area will be massively impacted and affected. Now, what I'm curious about is, I didn't think we were here. Neither of the Labour members on this council are here tonight. I've heard very little from them, if anything, about what they think about the impact of these measures and whether they actually support their own government on this matter. So, whilst I agree with you on one, you don't want to make it party political. It is, I'm afraid, party political. Well, the government has made it party political because it's ignored what everyone else said and just gone ahead with what the number one option of the Labour and the City Council was. So, Chairman, fully support this, but that, I'm afraid, the politics is really behind this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King. Just a reminder, members, please don't interrupt others while they are speaking and use the microphones when it's your turn to speak. Councillor Galton.
Thank you, Chair. Well, where to start really? I think this council came into being in 1974. It's like it's ceased being for 2 years. Not only is it going to cease being, it's been said, in Parliament to the city, and the rest into a smaller county. I don't, it's very hard to predict that that was going to be the outcome in any way, shape or form. And yet you can argue what the motivation was. Clearly is about growth. It's trying to make the city council financially stable going forward. Those arguments seem to be being accepted by the Secretary of State, and obviously no longer the Secretary of State, being changed last week. But it is difficult to conclude anything other, particularly looking at some of the other decisions around the country, around England, that there wasn't something about this which was actually a relationship between the Secretary and the Secretary of State and the left. It's difficult to reach conclusions of that wasn't the motivation for it. If you take Oxfordshire, for example, a much smaller area than ours, 760,000. Yes, they are expansive in Oxfordshire, but only by a few parishes. And then they have 2 unitaries in South Oxfordshire. So they go for a 3-point, exactly what we put forward on there, a smaller population than ours. So there are lots of other examples which make this decision even more difficult to understand. Now, personally, from my own view, not only does it split my district board, it splits my county division as well, the way they're trying it. They're not even taking district boards doing it, church policies to do it. They actually tried to do it, the council tried to do it, by bringing parish boundaries, but even the Secretary of State wouldn't allow them to do that. I'd asked the leader, he's mentioned in this, and I clearly don't want to give away what we might do, I'm sure, to unite this council and anything we can do to oppose this, or when we have it looked at again. There is mention of the election commission review. Can he say at this stage what those grounds might be? Has any legal advice been taken? Are we in the process of this? And what that might be? As far as I can see, other than the parliamentary process, that is going to be our only opportunity to try and get this change started. I note that the vast majority of people that the government released and the consultation is undertaking their own consultation a few days after the decision, and you've got this massive opposition to the proposal. A few days later, they proposed on this. Just incredible.
30 seconds.
Against the wishes. I will also, in closing, say I'm very pleased in this motion that we're mentioning the financial and operational stability of the remaining Leicestershire and Rutland County, because the city will be bigger. And I think the county councils are great financial problem now by taking out such a large economic area, such a large amount of council.
Thank you, Councillor Dalton. Thank you, Councillor Dalton. That's 5 minutes. Thank you. Councillor David Page.
Thank you, Chair. I feel pretty, what's the word, revulsed by what happened in the House of Commons. The previous Secretary of State, Steve Reed, actually lied. He lied to everybody when he actually said that the proposals that they put forward are cross-party support. They don't, and never did. And if the snapshot of feedback that I've received from people that I've said, do you support this or oppose it, is anything to go by, the vast majority of people, the vast majority, I'm talking 95%, everything I've received is opposed to these proposals. People from across the political spectrum have contacted me and said, I'd never vote for you, but I certainly support what it is you're trying to do here. So I've got quotes like, fight it, keep your independence. I moved out of the city over 20 years ago, and now I'm going to be dragged back in. There's a reason so many left for the county, and we want things to stay as they are. Totally behind you, it's a disgrace. I live in the city, and I think this is diabolical as well. So we have a groundswell of support, I think, across the county, even within the city, to say, actually, this is a bad idea. So I'm fully supportive of the motion, and I hope other colleagues will join us tonight and send a strong signal to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mrs. Page.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, at the moment we may have a groundswell of support, but nowhere near as much as in the future when the impact will actually sink in. Now, I have always thought that the Lord Mayor may get his own way, because after all it is a very strong Labour government and he's been there for an awful long while. But I am absolutely disappointed that it was very political and that the people and the actual residents' well-being has not been considered. Because in the long run, I am here for the residents, we all are here for the residents. I support the rest of the world now, the rural areas. And I believe, and no doubt, as the Chief Executive has confirmed, there will be a viability study, but I believe that all of the rural areas will be seriously disadvantaged, because to deliver in essential service anything in the rural areas is expensive, it is far more detailed, and that can't be delivered without the income. With 220,000 houses, plus building land, plus everything, the income going to the city, there is very little left over to deliver care and the services in the rural areas. The city will have all of the gain, but we all will have the pain. Imagine all the lorries from, trundling through my villages, damaging the roads alone. There won't be money to fill the potholes. We will be disappearing down potholes if this. But no matter what we do, I think we may be stuck with the proposal before us. But that doesn't mean that we can't fight. And I think we need to fight to be seen that we do care and that we do care for the residents. And to also finish off, say for instance, in Willoughby, you have Willoughby as a city, only 2 houses down the road will fall into the rest of the world, as I call it. How will this end up if somebody gets their bin emptied on a Wednesday or weekly and just the house next door twice weekly? It will not only create a service disparity, but it will set residents up against each other, because in the future they won't understand why it is so. They just will see that there is a difference. And for us as councillors and every single one that will stand in future, we are going to face the music in no uncertain terms. And I think as council and councillors, we are facing a very, very tough time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mrs. Page. Councillor Peter James.
Thank you, Chairman. I will be supporting this motion. I'd like to say a few words about the background on this. I'm well clear on the effort that's being put in by the councillors and the officers right across the county with the north-south option. The north-south option seems very logical, sensible for everyone. Populations were balanced. But of course, with the city's massive land grab, almost doubling their population, that has wrecked any chance at all of the north-south. This is the real problem. I'm not hopeful that we will get anywhere here, because I think of the prison, I think of the prison expansion and the members here fought against that. We rejected it, and the planning inspector rejected it, and the government forced it through. So I almost see a parallel situation here.
But what I would say is that if we're going to object to this, we need strength. We need real strength. So, as Harbour, of course, I support this motion. I'm hoping that the other district councils are going to do the same, which strengthens the case. And I'm not quite sure where the county is in this. We've got county members here that probably help a bit really on that. But we need the county with us as well. It needs an absolutely huge objection right across Leicestershire and Rutland. I'm not quite sure where Rutland are in all this, but everyone needs to object, and that will give us strength to fight it. And I think that's the only chance. If only we have 1 or 2 districts on board, or the county isn't properly on board, we'll have a weakness and we won't win. But if we all stick together and push against this, perhaps we have a chance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor James. My understanding is that Rutland is going to be part of the so-called donut in all of this, so they're included. Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to add my words to my colleagues around the chamber, and I'm grateful for their support, grateful for the support of people around the chamber, my colleagues, and I should be supporting this motion. I've been mostly asked, what can we do? And I've come back to my residents and I said in Grey Glen and in Harcourt that we should go for a judicial review, and I would wholeheartedly hope that the administration and the officers, the advice would be that we do this. We do this as a all of Leicestershire approach. Whether or not we do one on our own, I don't know how that works out basically. But my thoughts are that it isn't just redrawing lines on a map. I think to some people it is just drawing lines. It's not. It's actually eroding the identity of our villages. It's taking away local tax pounds that could be spent in our villages. It's just affecting the local community down to the lowest possible level. And I am certainly going to ensure that my voice is heard and our voice is heard from Glenmore and further afield, obviously in Thurnby, Bushby, Scraptop, Stoughton, Willoughby, Waterlys, that we want to stop this, and we have the power to try and stop it. So yeah, I'll give my backing to this particular motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Councillor Dr. Bremner.
Thank you. Just thinking about my own area, Market Harbour, when you have the weight of imbalance in this proposal, everything sucks into the city. And the big ticket items for both authorities will be health and social care, SEND, highways. That within each authority will suck the money, but who has the resilience to take that suck? It will be the city. It will not be the county. Because he's almost doubling his population. I think, I'm not a lawyer, there's a lawyer to my right. I don't know legally whether it's possible to do a judicial review across county boundaries. So you bring in other authorities. You don't just do it as Little Leicestershire. Sorry to say it like that, but it is Little Leicestershire in a legal term. If you spread that wider and join in with other large authority areas which have the same issue where a city is taking in more land and more taxpayers' money, that is a stronger position. What Councillor James was speaking about. So my concern is that as it's happened now, where people commute to work either to London or on the A6, it's just going to get busier and busier and busier. And we know how busy the London Road is going into Leicester, and people take detours around that. We know the problems with EMR, and one of the directors resigned today. So it's not a good time to be making this grab for land when there's all this instability and pressure on services of this scale. And that, I think, is the legal challenge, is the scale of the land grab. Why has he chosen the lines he's chosen? He has to justify that in detail. And if you can't do that, then that's the challenge. Because he didn't support, I think it was the left some years ago, he backed out of that, and he didn't bring in lots of investment into Leicestershire. Now, in his twilight years, the mayor is making this big stand for his legacy, that he is supporting Leicester, but he's not supporting anybody else. And the MPs around Leicester and around Leicestershire should have one item on their agenda right now for the people of Leicestershire. Sure, they've got Ukraine and they've got other issues, but for the people of Leicestershire, it's one issue. So make sure that your MPs know that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dr. Brenner. Councillor Bannister.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Brenner, yes, I'm a lawyer, but by golly, I wish I was the planning lawyer. I'll be into this big time. I actually specialised in crime, and I have heard some residents say,
Criminal, what's going on?
it's criminal, what's going on? You're ahead of it, yes. But in all seriousness, I do want to give voice to the residents of Willoughby Waterley, part of my ward. No surprise that they are angry and frustrated by the Labour government's political decision to support the expansion of the city of Leicester boundaries. Members here know that the concept of place is crucial for local government. It helps in the effective delivery of services, community engagement, and the promotion of a local identity. Its values are important to place, and the sense of place has been very well promoted and accepted by Harbour District Council. I appreciate that scale and efficiency are appropriate for the formation of military authorities. But there are real anxieties here about the economic sustainability of Leicestershire and Rutland. And I hope some good work can be done in respect of that. But local support is also critical to the success of unitary authorities. And the leader outlined the figures from the polling at the beginning of this debate. There is no evidence at all to support this city expansion from the localities, and in particular Willoughby Waterley, Burnley, Bushley, Scraptop, Stoughton, Great Glen, Ristow, Newton, Harcourt and Little Stretton. I'm going to borrow some words from the singer Ralph McTell. Let me take you by the hand and show you the streets of Willoughby Waterley. All four of them. And to ask you how this lovely community-minded rural village belongs to a place that's called the city of Leicester. It clearly does not. And I'll do what I can to fight the decision, support the leader, support this motion, hope that the planning lawyers can indeed find a way to challenge this through a judicial review. When this announcement was made, it was indeed a very sad day for local democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bannister. Councillor Asher.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I also fully support this motion. Other people have touched on what I was going to say, so I'm trying to keep it brief. I was a big fan of the North City South split if we had to do this at all, which I'd rather we didn't, but we got forced to stick for proposals which obviously haven't been listened to. The North City South was actually better for numbers, and I think would have been more palatable for everybody. With regards to a judicial review, yes, we've sat here before with the prison, as Councillor James touched on, and I think we also need to reach out to other areas nationally and work together, non-political, against this, and have strength in numbers. I noticed there's going to be a protest at County Hall. I wonder why that protest can't be took to Westminster itself. I do think that we need to get tough with this and say, no, we're not putting up with this. Because with the prison, we didn't go ahead with the judicial review, and now we are suffering the consequences. And by God, we are suffering those consequences in Derbyshire. And it should never be built there. And I think if we just allow this to happen, we are being done to again by another government. And it's just wrong. So I fully support this motion, and whatever we can do, we'll work with others locally and nationally. I'd like to see that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Asher. Councillor Rickman.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say I share everyone's abhorrence at this decision, and I endorse everything that has been said so far. I'm sad to say I've sort of felt I was in great fear that this was a decision that was going to be made in the first place anyway. A Labour government supporting a Labour mayor, so I didn't see any other way out. To help Councillor James on Rutland, I'm chair of the Rutland and Stamford Conservative Association, which actually includes part of Barbara as well. Very unusual association covering 3 counties. And the feeling in Rutland is just sheer outrage. Rutland feel that they are going to lose their identity. They consider themselves Rutlanders, not Leicestershire. And they lose their ceremonial status. So the general feeling in Rutland is that they have been really thrown into a barrel and forgotten. In this chamber, we are all charged, with looking after the district. And so I think with the general feeling in here, I think there is no doubt, and I look forward to a unanimous decision on this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Rickman. My partner's family are all from Oakham in Rutland, and they would absolutely echo what you've just said. Councillor Austin.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I wanted to reiterate Councillor David Page's words earlier. I too witnessed the then Minister for Housing in Parliament mislead the House by utilising his parliamentary privilege and telling an out lie. I was outraged by that, but there's nothing I could do about it. I think the motion that is before us, I think every single one of us wholeheartedly supports it. But again, the question is, how much weight can we make in that arena? And I think it then comes also down to our MPs. And I know that our local MPs are fully behind this sort of motion and trying to push forward for a judicial review. Whether that is appropriate or not, I would leave that into the hands of the legal profession among us. But at the end of the day, I'd like to say that we wholeheartedly support this motion and look forward to actually trying to make a difference on this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Austin. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you. I'm not going to say much more about the item we're discussing because I agree with everything that's been said. I think it's just a plea really that I wish we were as united in terms of climate change, because that is going to have a much bigger impact than anything that we're discussing this month in terms of sucking up resources. And I would like this sort of more united council to be sort of a bit more working class going forward in that. Because in terms of the change of boundaries, well, that's great. I agree in terms of sucking up the SN resources and social care, but what about water supply and fire engine, things like that? It's quite clear at the moment that there's another emergency going on. So please can you keep that in mind when there's next provisions. So that's also something to be working together.
Any other comments from Councillor Worrell?
I won't go on to it, which was agree with everything that's been said, but as Councillor James said, I think we do need a united front, so please do make sure we work with the authorities and try and throw the kitchen sink at it, really, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Worrell. Councillor Elliott.
I'd just like to say, I think this is such an important vote, it should be a recorded vote.
It's quite likely that this could be unanimous. If that was the case, we could just write down everybody's names, but we could do a recorded vote if councillors feel that it's necessary. I'm not looking at anybody that's against it. Councillor Knowles.
Chairman, you just hit the nail on the head about this being an important vote, and I think it's always worthwhile having the record that this can be looked back at in 6 months or 7 or 8 months or 10 months' time, or even a year. The fact is, it's everybody's sitting down in favour of it, so I would support a recorded vote. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll support.
Thank you, Councillor King. That's been seconded as well, so we will go ahead and do the recorded vote. Councillor Elliott. Any other comments, councillors, to make at all? Councillor Bannister, you have already spoken.
Can you just remind me, I don't have the constitution for me, do we have sufficient numbers already indicating a recorded vote is appropriate?
1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
Could we have is there a fifth councillor that would like to support the recorded vote? Thank you very much, Councillor Mrs. Page. Any more comments on this? Then Councillor Wellband, you may exercise your right of reply.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, everybody, for your contributions, and I'm delighted that we seem to have a unanimous kind of vote we're about to take on this, and I think it is incredibly important that we do show a united strength in telling government that we do not want this. I'm not going to repeat other people's comments. I'm going to say that JR has been mentioned a few times. I can say it's absolutely legal. That's what I can say at the moment. And just on the a few comments made about MP support. Yes, absolutely. All 3 MPs from the district are very against this. They've all got their own parliamentary petitions, which are currently live on their websites, which they will join together and present as a united petition to Parliament in September. So thank you, colleagues, for your contributions and the vote.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wellband. May I just thank both yourself and the Leader of the Opposition who I've consulted with this week in the lead up to this for your professionalism. So we'll go to a recorded vote, and you'll be answering whether you're in favour, against or abstaining. I believe I'm first, am I?
So we are, Chairman.
4.
Councillor Asher. 4. Austin.
4.
Bannister.
4.
Bateman.
4.
Birch. Was he here? He's not here, sorry. Brunner.
4.
Burrell. 4. Dan. 4. Elliott. 4. Fine. Oh, apologies, sorry for not here. Foreman. 4. Galton.
4.
Pollock.
4.
James.
4.
King.
4.
Knowles.
4.
Mahal. 4. Moda. 4. Nunn. 4. David Page.
4.
Rosita Page. 4. Rickman.
4.
Scott.
To be 4.
Taylor. 4. Wellband.
4.
4.
You say me?
more.
That's 25 in favour. Oh, Councillor Piper. Chairman, I'm so sorry. I've recorded vote sheet wasn't updated. Councillor Piper. So I missed him out. I'm so sorry, Councillor Piper.
I wonder how you got to talking before me. I think Paul.
Thank you. That's 26 in favour.
Thank you very much, councillors. That is unanimous and therefore that is carried. And as there are no other items of business, I will call this meeting to a close. Time is 26 minutes past 7.